Governor Wes Moore's military history is back in the spotlight. The New York Times publishing an article investigating whether he claimed he had a Bronze Star he never earned. It's a story Fox 45 News first brought to you back in 2022 when Moore was running for governor.
The article reiterates much of our reporting, pointing to a 2010 appearance on Comedy Central's Colbert Report.
Now, during that interview, host Stephen Colbert introduced Moore by listing some of his accomplishments, including the Bronze Star.
You're a decorated veteran of the Afghan War, yes, correct? Get the Bronze Star. Yes. Okay. Now, I am no fan of the smarty pants, but you are a Rhodes Scholar as well.
Yes.
Fox 45 News found at least 2 more times other reporters have claimed Wes Moore had a Bronze Star, including the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, 3 years after that Colbert interview, and in a PBS interview 2 years before the Colbert interview. Now, the New York Times article uncovered Moore listed he received the Bronze Star award on an application for a White House fellowship in 2006. Just hours after the New York Times published its report, Governor Wes Moore released a lengthy statement saying he included the Bronze Star in that application because a senior officer told him he could. He says he was told he would receive a Bronze Star, but never did. The statement goes on to say, quote, "I sincerely wish I had gone back to correct the note on my application. It was an honest mistake, and I regret not making that correction."
Boy. So we got to talk about a Democrat who is facing some controversy for allegedly lying in relation to his military service, okay, and the medals that he received while he was in the military. Kind of similar to what happened with Tim Walz. Everybody remembers the Tim Walz controversy after Kamala Harris picked him to be her VP running mate. And stories came out about Tim Walz lying about his service, right? Tim Walz claiming on video that he carried weapons of war into war, okay, even though he never fought in a war, right? He lied about the rank that he retired at. I mean, there's a lot of things that he lied about when it comes to his military service. But, you know, when it comes to Tim Walz, I mean, he basically has lied about everything, right? He lied about how he had kids. He lied about a DUI. He's lied about a lot of things, right? But according to him, you know, hey, he's just reckless, right? He's reckless with his mouth.
Because you called yourself a knucklehead this week to talk about some of your misstatements. Yeah. You've modified your story or explained that you misspoke about things involving your military rank, about carrying a weapon in war, your 1995 DUI arrest, using IVF to have your beautiful children, Gus and Hope, being in Hong Kong and China in the summer of 1989 during the Tiananmen events. A lot of people would say they couldn't get away with saying, I'm just too passionate, my grammar's not right, I'm a knucklehead. What do you say to the American people who think, I don't know that I can trust this guy with all those modifications to be the potential commander-in-chief of this country?
Yeah, well, I think they heard me. They heard me the other night speaking passionately about gun violence and misspeaking. And I got to be honest with you, Shannon, I don't think people care whether I used IUI or IVF when we talk about this. What they understand is Donald Trump would resist those things. Look, I speak passionately. I had an entire career, decades before I was in public office. They know, and I'm very proud of my 24 years in service and my record. I have never disparaged someone else in this, but I know that's not what Donald Trump does. They disparage everyone. The personal attacks. I will own up when I misspeak. I will own up when I make a mistake. Let's be.
Yeah. So we got to talk about another Democrat Party knucklehead, right? Because apparently when you lie about your military service, that just makes you a knucklehead, according to Tim Walz, and not somebody that is engaged in stolen valor. But yeah, Wes Moore, who is the governor of Maryland, who has gotten a national spotlight due to the fact that President Trump has called for a crime crackdown in Baltimore. So Wes Moore has to signal his Trump derangement, just like all the Democrats are trying to do right now, in order to increase their chances of being competitive in the Democrat primary. This guy apparently claimed that he received a Bronze Star when applying to a White House fellowship, even though he had not received the star at the time, right? Now, he claims that he was told that he was going to get the star, and that is why he put it on his resume, even though he didn't officially receive the star. But he claimed that he received the star on his resume anyways, and he made this claim multiple times and never corrected anybody that he had not actually received a Bronze Star, yet years after his service was done, right? Years after his service was done, this dude was running around telling everybody, including Stephen Colbert, that he had a Bronze Star, even though he didn't really have one. And now he's claiming that he made an honest mistake. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
I think I've taken full responsibility for what was in there, and yes, I understand that a superior officer told me to put it in there, but it wasn't his application. It was my application. So I'm taking full responsibility.
Governor Moore, when we asked you about this 2 years ago during the campaign, a spokesperson for your campaign said that you never claimed to have a Bronze Star, but now we've seen the application for the White House Fellowship, and that wasn't true. So do you regret the comments that you made or your campaign made that, looking back now, were inaccurate?
Yeah, I do regret the fact that I didn't go back and change it. Honestly, I'd forgotten about it after I put together the application. It was nearly 20 years ago, and I honestly just forgot about it. It was an honest mistake.
Now, when Wes Moore separated from the military, he says he never thought twice again about those medals because that's not why he joined the service in the first place. But that doesn't answer all of the questions about how we got here. I understand that you're saying you forgot about it and didn't really, think about the White House application. But when these questions were raised 2 years ago, you could have gone back to look at that application yourself, correct?
I honestly didn't think at that time to go back over every single piece of paper I filled out over the past 30 years of my life. When it was brought to my attention that it was on the application, frankly, it was a surprise to me until I remember the conversation that I had with him. It wasn't malintent. It wasn't malicious. It was an honest mistake.
Yeah, an honest mistake, he says, right? An honest mistake. Again, except when asked about this in the future, years later, he never corrected anybody and told him, hey, I don't actually have a Bronze Star, right? He never did that. Now, eventually he did end up receiving the Bronze Star, but that happened like 2 years ago, right? So a few years ago, he ended up actually receiving it. But again, at the time in which he was running around telling everybody that he had one, he didn't actually have it at that point. So again, that's the controversy here. So I want to go ahead and play a clip from Fox News of their host grilling Wes Moore on this controversy, because again, we have a Democrat who seems to be engaged in what some people are claiming is stolen valor. And I want you guys, the veterans, in the comment section to let me know, what do you guys think about this man's defense and his excuse for why he falsely claimed to have a Bronze Star, even though he had not received it yet? And is it a big deal, right? I genuinely want to know, is this a big deal in the military community? Is this a no-no, right? Like, how do you deal with this, right? When it comes to medals, right, and awards that you receive, if you're being told that you're going to receive an award, but you don't receive the award, you know, is it bad to claim that you received the award even though you didn't really receive it? I don't know. So let me know what you guys think. Let's get into it.
And I want to give you a chance to address this, Governor, because the President of the United States has brought it up. In 2006, on your application for a White House Fellowship, you put on your application that you were the recipient of a Bronze Star, I believe also with a Combat Action Badge. That was not true. You have apologized and said it was an honest mistake. Here's what President Trump said. Did Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, lie about getting his Bronze Star? The question, Governor, is why did you let it go on, even if it was a mistake, for years and years and years as you were celebrated as having a Bronze Star?
I'm very proud of my service to this country. And I think, and I'm not sure if you've served, Will, but I think as anyone who has served in this country, if you look at what we were able to do overseas and the fact that I was recognized by the United States Army with both the Bronze Star and the Combat Action Badge, I think I'm not only proud of the service that I have done to this country and the fact that I was willing to put my life on the line, wear the uniform of this country, overseas and lead soldiers, but I also know that the soldiers that I serve with are also proud. And also I know that most soldiers and most veterans know the ridiculousness of this line, and especially when they know that as someone who's actually led soldiers in combat and someone who's actually led led people overseas, and to know the United States Army actually recognized me with these awards, I think it does matter.
Wow, this is low-key dirty, bruh. This low-key dirty. Basically, he's trying to use the fact that Will Cain has never served as a way to silence him, right? Basically try to say that, hey, you're not in a position to really question me about this because you didn't serve, right? You didn't do what I did, so therefore, hey, you really shouldn't be bringing this up. Like, this is a ridiculous thing to bring up, okay? Because, the people that I served with know what I did. They know what I accomplished, okay? That has nothing to do with the fact that you didn't actually receive the award, right? You didn't receive the award. And at the time in which you were running around being celebrated for receiving the award, and people kept saying that, you never corrected anybody, right? You never came out and told the truth and said, hey, guys, I have not received this award yet. Can you please stop saying that I've received this award? You just let people continue to make the claim that you had this award that you didn't receive, right? So, again, this is a deflection, right? A deflection, basically try to use the fact that Will Cain did not serve, right, as a way to deflect criticism, right, to make it seem like the question is not a legitimate question.
Okay, Governor, first of all, I appreciate your service. I appreciate your service in combat. It's not something that I did, and I recognize and honor your service for this country, and I mean that sincerely. But
hey, look, Will Cain, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think you got to do this, bro. You ain't got to do all that, bro. We know what he's trying to do here. You ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to kiss his ass. Because look, he licking his lips. He know exactly what he set Will Cain up for, right? He set him up for that. He knew the only response that Will Cain could give right after that was to tell him how much he's thankful for his service, which, obviously everybody's thankful for the service of all veterans. But again, this is a slimy move from this governor, right? This is a real slimy move.
This is important because it's not ridiculous.
And I appreciate that.
It's important to know that you also are telling the truth. And you did get the Bronze Star, but you got the Bronze Star 2 years ago. And that 2 years ago, you got the medal, you got a citation, you got a ceremony. But you claimed it in 2006 when you didn't have any of those things. So you would know if you got the Bronze Star. The question is, why did you claim it for so long before you got it? And by the way, the Pentagon has responded to this. I want to read you a statement from DOD. They have something to say about this as well. The Pentagon said in 2006, Wes Moore listed a Bronze Star on his resume he didn't have until 2 decades later. Wes Moore is a perfect example of a politician who inflates his resume and hopes no one notices.
Thanks.
Your response, Governor.
Myers Bronson, I'm very proud of my service, and I'm thankful that the United States military has recognized my service in Afghanistan with both the Bronze Star and the Combat Action Badge. I'm thankful for the service that I did overseas. I'm thankful for the soldiers that I led with. I'm thankful for all of our veterans who understand the sacrifice that we were able to make, and I'm grateful for the opportunity now to be able to continue to do good work on behalf of the people of the state of Maryland.
Yeah. Well, I don't think many people question your service, Governor. I appreciate your service, and I respect and honor that service as well. The question is whether or not you're telling the truth as a politician. And I think that's important to the American people. As we talk about crime or any other issues addressing the state of Maryland, we got to know that the man we're talking to is also one that's willing to tell us the truth. And this does not look like good evidence of your willingness to tell the truth.
I think if you look at my military records, you can see that I'm not just very proud of the fact that I'm a decorated combat veteran, and I, unlike many people in this country, were willing to put on the uniform and sacrifice myself on behalf of this country. I'm proud of the work that I did with also my other soldiers and my other veterans across this country.
All right. Governor, I also appreciate the time you spent with us today addressing these questions. Thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Democrat governor of Maryland, his response to being confronted about lying, about receiving a Bronze Star, right, before he actually received it, is, well, I served and you didn't, right? And therefore, you shouldn't question me, right? This should not be a big deal because you didn't serve, right? That is essentially the answer. Now, if that's going to be the answer from Wes Moore, hey, I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I guess that answer is probably better than I lied, right? Because, I mean, ultimately, that's what he did, right? He lied, right? He said he had something that he didn't receive. He knew he didn't receive it yet, but he put it up there anyways, and he tried to build a career off of that, okay, and to use that to his benefit, even though he didn't officially receive that award yet. I mean, he did eventually receive it, but still, at the time in which he was running around telling everybody that he received it, he didn't receive it, right? He didn't have it yet, okay? And it's this type of stuff from Democrats who, again, pretend as if they're holier than thou, okay, that they are above it, right? They're above this, right? Trump is a liar. He lies about everything, right? These are the same people running around talking about how much Trump lies, right? When these people are lying about everything, right? They're lying about literally everything, okay? In the case of Tim Walz, it's almost as if every accusation is a confession, right? It's a confession. And that's what we have here from these Democrats. So with that being said, we're going to see how it works out for Wes Moore in his presidential run. I'm pretty sure this guy will probably end up running, right? That's why these governors are now trying to get in front of the TV cameras because they're trying to now campaign for president based off the Trump derangement, right? That's what they're trying to do at this point. That's the phase that we're in, the pre-primary, right? That's where we're at right now. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.